Yesterday afternoon, it was announced that the New York Mets have signed left-handed relief pitcher A.J. Minter to a 2-year contract. Hallelujah! The Mets have made a bullpen move, a major bullpen addition, and I can't be more ecstatic about it. So I'm obviously going to give you guys my reaction, which you guys already know what that is at this point, and break down what the Mets bullpen is looking like going forward and what this means for their pitching staff. What is going on, everybody? Welcome on in. You are locked into this new edition of Mets Digest with your host, Michael DeAngelo. As you see on the screen before I get started, we are at a little over 3.6 thousand subscribers. I gotta ask that you guys please subscribe down below because me and Flobo Boys have been on top of everything, any report, any little rumor. Me and Flobo have been on top of everything so far this offseason in Mets world. So you guys don't have to go through scrolling through Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever all day long looking for Mets news and rumors. We put it right here in one spot for you guys. This is your one-stop shop for everything New York Mets baseball. So make sure you guys subscribe down below and keep up to date and join in on the community. Now, let's get started. So, A.J. Minter has signed a 2-year, $22 million contract with the Mets. So that's $11 million per year. And he has a player option opt-out after the first season. So if he would like to opt out and go back into free agency after next season, he can. But if he wants to opt in for another $11 million year with the Mets, he can also do that as well. Now, A.J. Minter, has been an Atlanta Brave pretty much his whole career. And now this is one of the first times he's entered free agency. And now he is here signing with the New York Mets. Taking a look at his stats, you see that 2.62 ERA right below there. That is his second best career ERA coming off in any season. So we are pretty much getting A.J. Minter as prime as it can get. I mean, we see he's only 31 years old, so he still has a lot of good years left in him. This guy has a ton of playoff experience and a good amount of World Series experience. This man has pitched in the most high-pressure situations you can imagine in the playoffs. And, there's not a guy more qualified to take over the left-handed relief job in the Mets bullpen going into this season. Now, I know we heard the rumors before about Tanner Scott possibly being involved in talks with the Mets. And this could maybe seem like they're just pivoting away from signing a guy like that to such a big contract, and they go a little bit cheaper with a guy like this. Nothing ever really wrong with something like that, especially in the bullpen. But I would still not rule out the Mets being completely out on Tanner Scott. I think, in my opinion, you can have more than one left-handed reliever in that bullpen. I know Danny Young is in there and more than deserves a spot on the major league roster. And that's where I kind of see this team drifting towards, is that they'll do something like this. But look, crazier things have happened. The Mets were interested in Tanner Scott last trade deadline. So if they can't sign more bats and they just want to, focus on that back end of that bullpen, they can easily, still go out and grab Tanner Scott, who is still a free agent, obviously, if I'm talking about him. But looking at the Mets bullpen right now, I'm going to switch it to this view. This is just a little bit of a, a little light diagram of what it is. So obviously with A.J. Minter now, you see him, I guess this guy, Ben Yoel, shout out him, put him as a sort of setup man. And, Reed Garrett, Dedanel Nunez, he puts Danny Young in there, which some people have him possibly not making the major league roster this year, or like at the beginning of the season. But moving on from that, Sean Reed-Foley, and then long relief being Griffin Canning, who will be fighting for a rotation spot probably against Tyler McGill, Paul Blackburn. So maybe throw those two guys in there as well as part of the bullpen mix. This bullpen has now become pretty deep. And I'm always a guy that loves having at least two left-handed relievers in your bullpen. And if we were to have Danny Young and A.J. Minter, I wouldn't be complaining at all, but obviously I would love Tanner Scott and AJ Minter. But at this point in time, it really seems like that's not going to be happening. Maybe the Mets are possibly saving, a couple more dollars for some bats. Hopefully a guy like Pete Alonso, we'll see. There'll probably be another report about Pete that will come out tomorrow that we have to update you guys on. So now you guys know all off season long I have been harping about how much this Mets bullpen needs a retool, and AJ Minter is definitely the right foot to get started on. Now, do I think that this let's pull back up the diagram. Do I think that this bullpen is complete? Possibly. I can't blame the front office for relying on Jose Butto and Reed Garrett and DeAngelo Nunez after the seasons that they put up with the Mets last year. Just my issue is that you can't rely off of guys like that to really replicate something like that, from last season going into this season. We've already seen it with tons of pitchers in the past. Position players, even like Jeff McNeil, coming off of that, batting champion season and just having a complete drop off after that. So, I really like where this is going right here. This bullpen, in my opinion, I would like one more big addition. Whether it's a right-hander or a left-hander. Jose Leclerc was being murmured around as a good fit for the Mets, but yesterday afternoon, he did sign with the Oakland Athletics for a $10 million contract. So maybe that could be a possible trade deadline acquisition during the middle of the season. But right now, looking at this bullpen, it's shaping up very nicely. Now, we're forgetting names in here like possibly Tyler McGill, maybe Paul Blackburn if he can't make the rotation. And, there's guys in the AAA that are definitely going to be brought up throughout the season. Definitely highly anticipated, who is now our number one prospect in our system, Brandon Sproat, who looks like more and more that he will be more of a bullpen guy. If he were to come up to the major leagues, the kid tops out at like 102 miles an hour. With the way his mechanics are, it kind of just screams reliever at this point. He would definitely be joining this bullpen. Reed Garrett and DeAngelo Nunez were having trouble with injuries all of last season. So a guy like that is definitely going to be needed. But if the Mets are satisfied with a bullpen like this, so be it. You can't blame them after the season that these guys put up last season. But personally, I would like to see one more acquisition. Which there's still a ton of relievers out there. Carlos Estevez is still out there, we'll get back into the bullpen at a later time. Hopefully, when another move is made. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. So that is all I have for you guys here on Mets Digest. Make sure you guys subscribe down below, and I will definitely see you guys in the next video whenever the next report comes out. Good night, everybody.